Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to Daily Current Affairs session. So these are the articles that we are going to cover today. First one, Antarctica Treaty. So this is part of environment as well as international relations also we can take, right? Then about Venus planet, there was an article in the Hindu Science and Technology page. So this is part of science and technology as well as geography, right? Then Parliament security. So recent changes has been made in security of the Indian Parliament. So this is part of polity as well as internal security, right? Yeah. Next one, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. So this is part of international relations. International relations. Next one, Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Very, very important, and yes, you can expect a lot of questions from this particular article. This will be a little bit lengthy article. We will cover from very basic level, like starting from the beginning of this. Even before this, we have some other agreement as well. So we will cover everything, and you can expect a lot of questions from this part of environment, right? Next one, Starlink project. This is part of science and technology, right? Then Meteo Vigilance Program of India. So this is part of health. So it can be part of social issues because health is a social issues, right? Then pig butchering scam. So it is a scam, cyber security, right? So this part of internal security as well you can take. Then some factual pointers and practice questions. I hope my voice as well as video is clear now. So let's start. Yeah, very good evening, Srinath, Doindila and Malini. Let's take the first article for today, that is Antarctica Treaty, right? So the context is the 46th Antarctic Treaty meeting. So it is called as shortcut Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting of 46th meeting. So this is happening from May 20 to May 13, Kochi, that is Kerala, right? So that's why this is a very important article, as India is hosting this meeting, right? India is hosting the meeting, and this is the second time that India is hosting, right? So this is about the context. Now, before knowing what actually is Antarctica Treaty, we also need to know about Antarctica. So we have discussed this some few weeks back also, but anyway, this is again in news, so we need to discuss it, right? So this is, if you observe the Antarctica continent, so this earth is like this. Usually we consider like this. So we are lifting it and we are seeing it at the southern pole, right? So this is the southern pole and this is the Antarctica, which is also called as South Pole, right? So here the important water bodies are Ross Sea. Antarctic Ocean is also called as Southern Ocean. So don't confuse. Antarctic Ocean is also called as Southern Ocean. Then we have Weddell Sea, right? So and also bordering Indian Ocean. So these are the boundaries, and if you see the nearest one, you can see here the South American continent is the most nearest one, that is Argentina, right? And we have here New Zealand, Australia and the African continent. So these are all the surroundings of the Antarctica continent, right? So this is about the geographical location, and you need to know about certain facts also which are important. This is the fifth largest continent after Asia, then North America, South America, Africa. So this is the fifth largest continent in terms of area, right? So this is much bigger than the European continent, right? And it does not have any native humans. Usually each continent has different races. Like if you take example of India, we have Dravidians, we have Aryans, we have Mongoloids. So different race of people are there who are origin to that particular region. But for Antarctica, we don't have any proofs that some human race were residing in this continent because it is extremely colder. So that's why the human evolution does not taken place here, right? So that is also important fact. And there is no countries in Antarctica. In each of the continent, if you take Asia, we have India, China, Pakistan, many other countries. Similarly, Europe, North America, South America, we have number of countries within continent. But this Antarctica does not have any countries, right? So this some statement based questions may be asked in the exam. No country is present in the Antarctica. Yes, that is true. No country is there, right? But anyway, 7 nations claim different regions of Antarctica continent, right? So that does not matter, it is just a claim, right? So this is part of our country, we were there, so it is just a claim, but no country was authenticatically or given legally any part of this continent, right? So New Zealand, Australia, France, Norway, United Kingdom, Chile, Argentina claim certain parts, but that was not approved, right? So that is about the Antarctica. Now Antarctica is a very sensitive region. It is a high amount of ice caps stored here. So fresh water, which is a very important for our human race. If anything goes wrong in this continent, the water will, the ice caps merge or convert into the water, and then sea level gets rise. So that will affect mainly the coastal communities across the continents. So water is going to be added into the oceans. So that will lead to the climate change. Catastrophic effect may be there. That's why the countries has realized that we need to have certain treaty which will regulate the activities in this Antarctica region, right? So no commercial activities, no certain nuclear tests and all are prohibited. So that's why the countries together have agreed to establish a treaty, Antarctica Treaty in 1959, right? Originally 12 countries were part of it. USA, Russia and many more, the boundary states and all, they have signed through Washington Agreement. This is also called as Washington Agreement, right? So according to the agreement, no military activities are performed here, no commercial or military activities except scientific research which will help to the global community. So all these things are prohibited. No military use, freedom of scientific navigation for all the countries. So not only just to specific countries, but every country can participate in the scientific investigation. Free exchange of ideas, whatever we discover from it. Nuclear free zone, no territorial claim is accepted as of now, right? So all these agreements were to protect all these provisions were to protect the Antarctica to not affect in any negative way to the human race, right? So that is the objective. So this is the only treaty in the world which governs the whole continent. For example, we have a number of agreements, but within the continent there are only certain regions were covered under the treaties. But this is the only treaty where all the continent together was agreed under one single treaty, right? So this is also very important. Fine. Now, as I said, there are earlier 12 original signatories, but now approximately 56 are there. 56 countries are part of it, and India also joined in 1983. So this is the year when we won the World Cup. So you can just make it as a what you call a tip, right? So 1983 India has joined as a consultative party, right? As of now, it has all the powers to give suggestions and to vote and participate in all the meetings, right? So even we have the voting also to take the decision. So total 56 countries are there, and it is headquartered at Buenos Aires in Argentina, right? Headquarters is in Argentina. These are all a very important fact. So you need to understand for what purpose this agreement is there. Whatever you are reading the current affairs, find out the issue, why this treaty is there, why this organization is there. If you are talking about any particular organization, what is the role of this organization? Then yes, when it was established, what is the facts, right? Who's heading it? All those facts are secondary in nature, right? So this is how you need to prepare. Now, let's also know about India's association with the Antarctica. The article also talks about the India's association with the Antarctica. We have become part of 1983, right? Antarctica Agreement. So first first research station was established in that year itself. We became part of this Antarctica Treaty, and immediately we established Dakshina Gangotri Station for scientific exploration. You can see here. So this is our Dakshin Gangotri research station in Antarctica, and this is the first one, right? So it was near to South Pole, approximately 2500 kilometers from the southernmost tip of the earth, right? It was operated till 1990, but it was dismantled now. There is no operated Dakshin Gangotri station as of now. This is also important. You need to know which one is operated, which one is not operated, when it was launched, when it was dismantled. So all this may be asked in the exam as well, right? So before dismantling this Dakshin Gangotri, we established in 1989 the second one with the name Maitri. So currently we have Maitri station which is working. Just before dismantling Dakshin Gangotri, we have established the Maitri. So this is located near the region called as Skimachar Oasis, right? So this is the region where it is located within Antarctica, right? Also in 2012, we have established one more research station in Antarctica, Bharati. The name is Bharati. So first one is Dakshin Gangotri, that was not working now. Maitri, the second station which is still under working. Third one we established as Bharati station. So it is located near 3000 kilometers far from a Maitri. And we are going to launch Maitri 2 research station in approximately estimated to be 2029 to take place the operations. So existing ones are only two, that is Bharati and Maitri. Earlier Dakshin Gangotri was there, and also in future we are going to get the Maitri 2, right? Now about the meeting which is going on in Kochi, right? May 20 it has started, and for what purpose? For what purpose it is taking care? The purpose is to promote sustainable resource management of Antarctica, to not affect Antarctica region, and to estimate the impact of climate change on Antarctica. Everything related to Antarctica will be discussed and will be suggestions are given. So the declaration will be found where all the countries has to follow those guidelines, right? So this is being organized by National Center for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa, a very important, under Ministry of Earth Science. So this is the organization which is being handling this meeting, right? So India also hosted before this in New Delhi in 2007. So they may ask you, this is the first time India is conducting this meeting of Antarctica Treaty. No, already India has done in 2007 before, right? So these are all the facts related to the current meeting. Any doubts in this? Can anyone name what is the research station name of India in Arctic? We are talking about the Antarctic region. Can anyone name what is the station name of Arctic region? Can anyone name this? Also let me know if you have any doubts. So the name is Himadri. Himadri, right? So Himadri is the research station in the Arctic region, right? Yes, Ranjan, yes, we have discussed some 10 days back itself we have discussed, but anyway, that is the beauty of current affairs. Whenever there is an article in the newspaper, even if it is there regularly, we have to discuss it, because some people will not attend those sessions, they may start following. So whatever the current affairs that are covered in the today's newspaper will be covered. So if you do it repeatedly many times, so that's how it will be really helpful for you. But most of the people, they will read the compilation at the end, right, just before the exam, so that will not work. If you do regularly, then it is very useful, right? Oindila and Santosh has answered it. Great. So Himadri is the station, right? Next article about Venus planet. Venus planet. So the context is, there was an article in the Hindu newspaper about Venus. Not very much relevant things are there for our exam point of view. It is a comment and the research and all. Just briefly, we will see what are the relevant things for our exam. So 4 billion years ago, Venus had enough water, like how we are having water on Earth. Similarly, Venus was having a lot of water 4 billion years before. But now it was that only up to 3 centimeters depth there was a thin layer of water in the Venus, right? Earlier it was much 3 kilometers deep it was there. Yeah. So earlier we have a very good amount of water in the Venus, but now it was not there. So research has tried to find the reason why the water got extinct, right? So that is about very brief thing, but let us know about the Venus planet, right? So if you see the our 8 planets that are located, total we have 8 planets, and Venus is the second one in the nearest to the sun, right? So these 4 are called as inner planets, and these 4 are called as outer planets or Jovian planets, right? So these are the inner planets and Venus is the second one. So this is a very simple fact and everyone knows this. Now let's also know some unknown facts about Venus. You might be knowing, some might be knowing, but still we need to know some, like you might be astonishing few things if you don't know about Venus. This is the brightest planet in our solar system. We have 8 planets, and out of 8 planets this is the most brightest one, right? And this is because of highest albedo. What is albedo? Anyone? What is albedo? So albedo is the capacity to reflect back the sunlight, right? So that is the definition. Albedo is nothing but the capacity to reflect back the sunlight by a body, right? For example, there is a 100% of units, 100 units of sunlight, and this is the earth, for example, or any body, you can take stone. Some capacity is there to absorb. So 10% is absorbed, 10 units are absorbed, and 90% is reflected back. 90 units are reflected back. It means it is having the good amount of albedo. 90% it is reflecting back. 90 units it is reflecting back. So it means that this body is having more albedo. For example, this can absorb 90 units out of 100 units that we are receiving. 90 units are received and 10% is reflected back. That means that it has lowest albedo. So albedo is nothing but capacity to reflect back the sunlight. And this Venus is having such a composition on its surface that it reflects back most of the sunlight, right? No planets on in our solar system has direct light. All the light is coming from sun itself. Even our earth has light only from sunlight, right? So this reflection, because of high reflection, the Venus seems to be very brightening the brightest planet, right? So this is one important fact. And this is the third brightest visible object from Earth. If you stand on Earth, so if you can see sun, you can see moon, you can also see Venus even with naked eye. You no need to take any telescope. If you observe, Venus is clearly visible from Earth, right? So this is the third brightest space object that can be seen from Earth's surface. In our ancient literature like Vedic times and all, this Venus is called as morning star and evening star. Morning star as well as evening star. Why? See, this is the plain region, you are standing here, right? Early morning sun will come, early morning sun will rise, right? And in the evening sun will set. When like the objects in the space can be clearly visible when there is a sunlight or when there is no sunlight. Tell me the answer for this. Can you see the space objects, whatever the objects from space clearly if it is there, if sun is present or if sun is absent? This is a very basic physics. Whenever there is a sun is absent, there is no light, so the darkness will enable you to see the brightest stars in the space, like stars or whatever other objects, right? So just before sun getting sunlight, whenever the sun is about to rise, all the objects that you see in the night will slowly get vanished because the brightest sunlight is appearing. So the last object in the space that you can see before sun gets rise is Venus. I am repeating again, the last space object that you can see from Earth's surface before sun rises is the Venus, right? Because this is the brightest. Unless there is a proper light by the sun, the Venus will not disappear, right? So that's why this is called as the morning star, where you can see the Venus as the last space object before sun get risen, right? And when sun gets set, the first space object that you can see from the sky is Venus again. So in the evening you are going to see the Venus for the first that you are going to see is Venus of any of the stars or planets, and in the morning you are going to see the last one because the brightness that it has. So that's why you are seeing it as a morning star or evening star. The names were given for Venus. I hope this is clear, right? Any doubts in this? Because this is a little bit conceptual to understand, but yeah, it is a simple one if you understand the physics, right? And this, yes, it is visible through our naked eye as well, right? And this is also called as Earth's twin because of the mass, because of the shape, because of the size. We have a similar things with the Earth. That's why it is also called as Earth's twin, the Venus. Fine. And this is the hottest planet in our solar system. So this is Earth, right? So this is Earth. We have atmosphere. When sun releases the heat, it enters into the Earth's atmosphere, and because of albedo, it reflects back. And when it is getting reflected back, mostly it will go beyond our atmosphere. But because of fossil fuel, we are using fossil fuels and many transportation, all this heat is being trapped in our atmosphere itself. The heat is not going beyond atmosphere because of the thick smog of various industries that is releasing. All the heat is being trapped in our atmosphere. This is called as the greenhouse gas effect, right? So this is called as the greenhouse gas effect. The same way, Venus is having the highest greenhouse gas effect in its planet, right? In its atmosphere, the greenhouse gases are very high. That means it can trap the heat a lot. You have seen the mechanism. The same way, Venus can trap lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. That's why it is not only the brightest, but also the hottest planet. Even though Mercury was the nearest, you all know that Mercury is the nearest to the sun, but because of this greenhouse gas effect, Venus is having the hottest planet in our solar system, right? And Venus rotates its axis in a backward. For example, this is sun and we have Earth. It is revolving and also rotating from which side? West to east, right? We are having the west to east. The Earth is rotating from west to east. But this Venus is having east to west. East to west rotation. Revolution, fine, all the planets are revolving around the sun. But in terms of rotation, this is against or opposite to what Earth is spinning, right? So this is also very important to understand, right? Yeah, so this is about the Venus. Now, what about the water mystery? The article talks about two important reasons why the water got disappeared. The main reason is, the first is about the carbon dioxide composition. As we have just seen that it is trapping lot of CO2 into the atmosphere through greenhouse gas effect. So because of this, water slowly got vanished, right? And also it is having the hottest surface. We have seen just because of this CO2, it is having the highest hottest planet. That's why the water got disappeared, right? So this is about the study, and we have seen a very important facts about the Venus. So you can see a lot of questions on this as well as part of geography, right? Any doubts in this? Great. So that is about the Venus planet and the study that was discovered by the scientist. Next one, the parliament security. See, you have to understand this. I'll show you the question, an application based question. I'm not giving directly the statements that we have read here, but whatever, like if you understood, you have to answer the question at the end. I'll show you the application based question, right? Parliament security. Recently, CISF, Central Industrial Security Force, has taken over the security of Parliament. Why? In December, you might be aware, in December 2023, some people have jumped into the Parliament, right? So into the Parliament, and they have thrown some gases and all affecting the people there, right? So because of that, there was a review happened in the last few months, and meanwhile, CRPF, Central Reserve Police Forces, were securing that, right? But now the security of Parliament were given completely to the Central Industrial Security Forces. This is the context that we have taken this article, right, from the Hindu. Now let's understand what was there earlier before this event of Parliament breach. Who were guiding them? There are three layers of security force. One is Delhi police, and then paramilitary forces, right, and Parliament security service. This was the main role playing, right? So total three forces were guarding the Parliament till now. One is Delhi police, where the acts as the outer area. For example, this is the Parliament building, and then this is the boundary wall. So in the boundary wall, at the boundaries of this Parliament building, Delhi police were securing the outer layers, right? And just inside of it, once you enter the Parliament premises, then parliamentary forces can be seen. Paramilitary forces can be seen, right? Outside completely of Delhi police, then paramilitary forces, then inside the parliament and all is taken care by the parliamentary security service. So this is the service. Yeah. So those are the three-layer structure: Delhi police, then paramilitary forces, and finally parliamentary security service. So these three were there in securing the parliament, right? And the police, as I said, the Delhi police outer side, and after entering you can see paramilitary forces and finally parliamentary security services, three layers. Now let's know about the Parliament Security Service Unit as well, because this is the main force which is taking control of the security of the parliament till date, right? So this was known earlier as watch and ward staff. Very high chances to asking the question as part of your polity syllabus or internal security. So try to understand. This Parliamentary Security Service was earlier called as watch and ward staff. This was existing since 1929. If you are a student who have completed modern history, you might be aware that Bhagat Singh and Bhutkeshwar Dutt has attacked the Central Legislative Assembly, which is called as Parliament, the old Parliament building. Now we have moved to the new Parliament building, but the old Parliament building, which was earlier called as Central Legislative Assembly, was attacked by Bhagat Singh and then Bhutkeshwar Dutt. So since that event, the Britishers have started establishing watch and ward staff, which was later shifted or renamed as Parliament Security Service after the independence, right? So this was being taken care, but now the Central Industrial Security Forces is being taken care of the Parliament security. So they have taken care yesterday itself, they have taken the complete handover of the parliament, right? Now let's know about CASF as well. That is also very important because their role, they have come into the picture. These forces were established on the recommendation of Mukherjee Commission in 1969, when the nationalization of banking also took place in the same year during Mrs. Indira Gandhi, right? So Mukherjee Commission has requested or recommended to establish Central Industrial Security Forces, right? And this is one of the Central Armed Police Force. Yeah. So this is one of CAPFs, one of the 7 CAPFs. We have Assam Rifles, which are taking care of the Northeast security. Border Security Force, we have borders with Bangladesh and Pakistan. These forces are guiding. Then CASF, the same one, we will see about this a little bit more. CRPF, which takes care of the Naxal hit area specifically. Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, which takes care of Chinese border, China and India border. National Security Guard, NSG, specifically established to contain the terrorism. Then Shastra Seema Bal, which is guarding in the Nepal as well as Bhutan border, right? So these are the 7 Central Armed Police Forces which are guarding for internal security, and CASF we are talking about. CASF was established specifically to take care of the security of Indian government industries, right? Either state governments or central governments. It was started with giving security for the government industries, but later its role was enhanced. Its role has enhanced by giving more other things like private, even Infosys is being guarded by the CASF, and of course they pay some amount, right? Not some, it is a huge amount to the government, right? Now this being deployed in other disaster management activities, elections, during elections we are using, right? So across we are atomic station, even ISRO was guarded by CASF, right? So all these things was enhanced. Now CASF is going to take care of the parliament as well, right? So that is about the CASF and what is the mechanism earlier, what has changes has happened, right? Who is guarding it, and you need to know about the PSS as well. Then you need to know about CASF, and you also briefly know about the Central Armed Police Forces, right? So this is about the Parliament security change. Any doubts in this? A very important article related to the internal security, right? Next article, India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC. So I'm shortcut, we can call this as shortcut in IMEC. India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. So there are 3 connections here: India, Middle East and Europe. So these are the three regions which they are going to connect, right? So the context is India UAE has recently conducted the talks first about the IMEC. So that is what. So the declaration is yet to be announced, what discussed, what is being implemented and all. But yes, discussions has happened. Now let's know about the India Middle East Economic Corridor. So it is, the name itself is giving, it is economic. So if you observe the Middle East map, here we have a Suez Canal. So most of you might aware about Suez Canal. Most of the ships from Indian Ocean region flows through this Red Sea region, right? Bab el Mandab Strait, Gulf of Aden. So this is the region where the ships move, right? Because we don't have any other water body connection. Either you need to go through Africa, right, the South African region, and then cross it. It takes a lot of time. So almost 95% of trade is taking place through this region. But now you all know Gulf of Suez is a very hectic line. It takes very thin line. So it is very difficult to pass all the ships. And also in this region, Red Sea region, there is a lot of attacks, piracy piracy is taking place, and then internal security issues, external security issues are all happening because of Hamas, Israel war and all. So that's why the countries has agreed to promote this particular line through land border and then from there to water border, into the Mediterranean Sea. So in this we are connecting two things, that is Eastern Corridor, where it connects with India with the Arabian Peninsula, Eastern as well as Northern Corridor. Within this IMEC, we have two corridors, that is Eastern Corridor, which is connecting India with the Middle East, right? Through Mumbai port as well as Kandla, Mudra port, these three are part from India. We will see those as well. Then it is connecting to UAE as well as Saudi Arabia, and then later to the Israel. So in the Middle East, we have three countries, that is UAE, Saudi Arabia and Israel also. Israel is also part of this. From there, it connects to the Greece and other European countries. So this is the IMEC to connect between these three regions. And what is the aim? Just economic, to promote the trade. As this line is becoming busy, we want to promote trade, and of course there will be other subsets as well. So when you are promoting economic, there is a cultural development as well as cooperation between the countries, peaceful nature. All these things will also be an outcome, right? So this is the objectives of this thing. And the countries involved, these are the countries which are involved in this, including the Greece. Greece is also later joined. India, USA, Saudi Arabia, UAE, European Union, Italy, France, Germany and Greece. So these are all the countries which are involved in this project, right? Two corridors also we have discussed, fine. So these are the two corridors. This is Eastern Corridor and then this is Northern Corridor. So we are connecting these two regions to promote the trade, right? Now, what are all the regions within the countries? What are the regions that are involved in this? That is also important. From India, there are three ports: Mundra, Kandla and JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust of Mumbai. So these are the three ports from India. And from UAE, Fujairah, Jebel Ali and Abu Dhabi ports. Three ports are involved. From Saudi Arabia, Dammam and Ras Al Khair. See, they won't ask you specifically where they are located, but rather they will ask you, they will give certain port names and why these port names were in use. So you can talk about the IMEC. So based on the options they give, you have to get an idea. So just no need to mug up, just familiar with the names, and based on the options asked, you can answer them, right? And railway line also, we are being connected from UAE to Israel. From UAE to Israel, we are also connecting the railway line, right? So we are connecting the railway line as well. Then we have Israel and then Europe. In Israel, we are connecting the Hafia. Okay, we are also connecting the Hafia region, fine. So then Europe also we have certain ports, Perosus, Greece and other regions. So these are all the regions which are involved in this project. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? I hope this is clear. Let's move to the next article, and a very important article, that is Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, right? Kunming-Montreal Biodiversity Framework. This is a little bit big article, after that very simple, two factual articles, right? The context is Convention on Biological Diversity. The scientific body recommended to implement this convention. Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. We will see this, we will come to that. But before that, let's know what actually is CBD, and then what are sub implementation, sub articles implemented it, and then we will come to Global Biodiversity Framework, right? So this is Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Let's see about details about it. First, let's know about Convention on Biodiversity. This is also called as CBD, Convention on Biodiversity, right? It is a legally binding. You all know that since 1980s, 1990s, all the countries has realized the importance of protecting climate, biodiversity, plant species, animal species, bird species. So they have realized, and to combine all these things, one single treaty was launched in 1993. Legally binding, that means whoever has signed the agreement, everyone has to follow the rules, right? So the Convention on Biodiversity is to protect the biodiversity across the world, and this is the first time we have recognized all the biological importance under the single treaty, and it covers all the ecosystems, water, like land, tree, everything related to the biodiversity is covered here, right? So this was signed under Earth Summit 1992 in Brazil, Rio conference, you all might be aware. Even UNFCCC was launched at that time, right? UNFCCC was launched that time, right? CBD was also signed, and it came into implementation from 1993, right? So what is the objective of this treaty? To protect biodiversity covering all the ecosystems. That is the objective, and it came into the effect from 1993, signed through Rio conference, Rio Earth Summit in 1992. So these are the facts, and it is a legally binding. Its secretariat or headquarters is located in the Montreal, Canada, headquarters. These are the facts, of course. There is no concept as such to make you understand. And it is implemented under United Nations Environmental Program. It is being overseen by the United Nations Environmental Program. So this is a separate organization under United Nations, right? Which is having role to protect the environment. This is the organization which is implementing CBD. Fine. Then there is a conference of parties, like how COP for UNFCCC, there is a conference of parties also, where all the countries meet once in 2 years. So that is biennial. Once in 2 years they meet, right? So this is the about CBD, Convention on Biodiversity. And the main objective, as we have seen, to conserve biodiversity, sustainable use of resources, fair and equitable sharing of benefits. See, some countries may be having high technology, some countries may be not having technology, but they do have resources. And the country which is having technology, they will come and do research, and they will find some new things from genetic resources of the species. So the benefits out of it should be equitably shared. The poor countries also should get. Even though the technology is with developed countries, the benefits has to be shared with the developing countries also, right? As part of this, 2 agreements were signed under CBD. See, we have Rio Earth Summit, Rio Summit of 1992 in Brazil. Then UNFCCC was there, UNFCCC, and then CBD was also launched, right? Convention on Biodiversity. Under Convention of Biodiversity, we have Cartagena Protocol and Nagoya Protocol. So 2 protocols were signed under CBD. Cartagena Protocol, this aim is to ensure safe transport of living modified organisms. Okay. So here lot of organisms are there, microorganisms. So if any modifications happen, it may spread the disease also, right? Like how COVID has happened. So to contain that, they have signed the Cartagena Protocol. That is the aim. It was signed in 2003, right? It came into the picture in 2003. Very important. And one more agreement was signed, Nagoya Protocol. Under CBD, one is Cartagena to safe transport without affecting the countries with any outbreak of diseases and all, right? And the second one is Nagoya Protocol. This was signed in 2010 and came into the implementation from 2012 14, right? So the main aim is equitable sharing of genetical resources. After genetical modification, if there is any benefits, that has to be given equal to all the countries. That is Nagoya Protocol. This difference has to be identified. Someone asked the doubt, sir, railway line connecting means we are investing in construction of railway, or we are using only pay some rent? See, this is being funded by different countries together. So yes, we need to pay, of course, some taxes and all will be there. Very minimal taxes will be there. You are talking about IMEC, I guess, right? So yes, some taxes and all will be there, but yeah, to promote the trade between the countries, right? So that is the aim. We are not connecting that railway line, rather those countries themselves are investing, right? So that is about the IMEC. Now, is this clear about the Nagoya Protocol as well as Cartagena Protocol? And one more thing, we have signed under CBD Aichi targets. Aichi targets. So Aichi is a place. So under this Aichi targets, we have kept 20 targets. Under CBD, there is one more thing, Aichi targets, which were signed in 2010 till implementation of 2020. So for 10 years, we have signed this with the aim of taking care of all these 20 targets, right? So to reduce invasive species, minimum coral reef loss, to protect our fisheries, all there are 20 targets for biodiversity conservation. So this plan got exhausted. I mean, it invalidated after 2020. There is no plan, right? So 2011 to 2020, it got vanished, completed. So that's why we bought Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So this is replacing the Aichi biodiversity targets. Aichi biodiversity got invalidated after 2020. So this was discussed and this was being implemented from December 2022. So this is Kunming-Montreal Biodiversity Framework that we are talking about the context. So when we took the article, this is about Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So this is replacing the Aichi targets, right? So I hope this is clear. We have discussed CBD, under that Nagoya Protocol is there, Cartagena Protocol, and we have Aichi targets. These Aichi targets are to protect biodiversity, and this is being replaced with Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. And under that, there are 4 goals and 23 targets. 4 goals and 23 targets. So these are the things. No need to remember or mug up the things, right? So this is 23 targets set under this agreement. So you can briefly go through. If they ask, you can write like all these things are very generic to protect invasive, to contain invasive alien species, to protect environment, coral reefs, everything is covered. Now the targets has increased to 23. Earlier Aichi targets only 20 are there. Now it has increased to 23, right? And there are key targets also, very factual in nature. This I am giving in PDF format. You can just go through them. 30 by 30 deal, and then stop the extinction of known species, reduce risk of pesticides. So there are targets, specific targets under the Global Biodiversity Framework, Kunming-Montreal Protocol, right? So under this, there are certain targets. Try to remember these facts. So what are all the targets that we have kept, right? I am giving in a PDF format. Just go through it. What are the targets? Is this clear? Any doubts in this? Okay, let's move to just 2-3 more articles, very short, each takes around 2 minutes, so we'll complete this. Starlink project. Recently, Starlink satellite internet is being launched in Indonesia, Bali. So the Starlink is an internet project. We will see the details. It is being launched in Indonesia, right? So that is about the context. Now, what is this Starlink project? Usually for internet, we have, say for example, this is Earth. Usually the internet is launched through satellite in the geostationary orbits. Geostationary, approximately 30,000 kilometers from Earth's surface. Usually the satellites are launched in the geostationary orbits, right? But now Starlink was a project of SpaceX, Elon Musk project, which was launched in 2019. and this is aiming to promote internet. So you can see all these are nothing but a network of satellites launched at the lower Earth orbit. So lower Earth orbit is just near to the Earth's surface, approximately 350 to 1200 kilometers height. Usually the internet satellites are launched at the geostationary 35,000 kilometers above, but this is very near to Earth and put all the satellites all over the Earth except polar regions, right? So this is being launched at the lower Earth orbit, so the internet will be much faster, right? So that is the objective. So the facts related to is aim is to promote internet connection. Launch was through SpaceX and launched in 2019, right? And it was put in lower Earth orbit, which can increase the speed of internet. So these are the facts about Starlink project. Great. Yeah. Next article, Metro Vigilance Program of India. Metro Vigilance Program of India. Recently you might be aware certain tonics were used in Africa and some children were died, right? Those were origin from India. That's why Drug Controller General of India has asked for all the events reporting the medical devices. So if any malfunction of medical devices has to be reported under this project, right? Drug Control General of India has asked to report all the cases in this particular program. So what is this program about? This program was launched in 2015 by the Ministry of Health, right? Metro Vigilance Program. Wherever there is, the aim is to collect all the data related to the medical devices, whatever may be the medical devices, how they are performing, what is any malfunction. So whatever in all the hospitals, we have a network where they will note these malfunctions of these devices and report to this authority. So that is the aim, right? To promote the proper utility of medical devices. Fine. And the organizations, this program is implemented by National Coordination Center. This being implemented with the National Coordination Center, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission is leading this program. So this program is led by Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission through National Coordination. So this is coordinating, and we have local authorities and all who will give the data to this particular organization, right? So very simple article. You need to know who is taking care of this organization, what is the objective, when it was launched. Last article for today before seeing facts and some practice questions, pig butchering scam. Pig butchering scam. So pig butchering means, don't think it as a physical butchering of pig. It is to trap the people. So here the context is pig butchering scams are gaining higher. They are increasing in the online platform. So this is what it was recognized. Now let's see what actually this scam is, pig butchering scam. In this butchering scam, what the fraud people will do, they will try to connect you digitally through Facebook or whatever social media platform. In a long term, it is not a short term one. They will make friend for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. They will keep interacting with you. They will become close, and then they will ask you to invest in certain fraud apps, for fraud schemes or apps. So they will tell you, you will become a friend. After 1 year, you will trust them, and then they will ask you to invest in certain schemes or apps, and then they will collect all the money from it. So those are fraud apps. So very simple scheme. So here pig butchering means they will make you as a person as a prey, and then they will butcher you. That means they will cheat you. That's why this name called pig butchering, right? So the process is to make friend in a long term and then make you invest in certain apps or schemes which are fraudulent and collect your money. So that is of pig butchering, a small article. So those are the articles for today. Now let's see some factual pointers and some practice questions. First one, World Bee Day. Honeybees, right? World Bee Day is being celebrated on May 20th, right? And bees are the very important pollinators where they can transfer from one plant to other plant, one flower to other plant to promote the growth of plants as well, right? And these honeybees have 3 pairs of legs, that means 6 legs and 4 wings and 5 eyes. So this is the important physical features of honeybee, and these bees perform waggle dance. Waggle dance. This honeybees has a feature to waggle dance to call all its community for the food sources. So it is a direction, it is showing that here there is a food. So through waggle dance they will make you make those bees the friends to come here and to find out the food source, right? So that is also important feature. And the theme is be engaged with youth. Be engaged with the youth is the theme of this year National World Bee Day, right? Next fact, Purnima Devi Burman has received Whitley Golden Award, which is called as Green Oscar, for the promoting greater adjutant stork. Greater adjutant stork is a species of stork which she promoted, protected it, right? They are also called as Hargila locally in Assam and Bihar. So most of this greater adjutant stork species are located in Bihar and Assam, and she promoted the conservation of that. And Whitley Awards are given by Whitley Fund for Nature, which promotes the ecological leadership. Ecological means whoever is working for environmental in the global south, means developing countries, right? So this is the fact, and this is listed as near threatened in IUCN list. Fine. So these are the facts. That's all for today. Let's see briefly about the practice questions. First question, which of the following organisms, this was taken from UPSC 2023 Civil Services Prelims. I hope this is clear. Which of the following organisms perform waggle dance for others of their kin, that's other friends and all, indicating the direction and distance of the sources for food? So what is the answer for this? Butterflies, dragonflies, honeybees and wasps. Yes, a very direct question we have just discussed, that is waggle dance. Santosh Srinath Doindala has answered it as correct. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding Venus. It is often called as Earth's twin because it's a similar size and density. Right, Prasanna has also answered, Ranjan also has answered it as correct. Next question you can see here. Earth's twin, we will complete a little bit fast, we have class, right? So, which it is called as Earth's twin because of its similar size and density. First statement. It is the hottest planet in our solar system. Second statement. On Venus, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. So, this is the third statement. So, third statement is little bit application based. We have seen the rotation, how it happens and all. So, try to apply your knowledge what we have listened. First one, yes, it is Earth's twin, correct. Hottest planet, that is also correct. And Venus, sun rises in the west because it rotates from east to west, opposite to Earth. On Earth, it is rising on east, but on Venus, it rises on the west. So, third statement is also correct. So, answer is 1, 2 and 3. So, Srinath Ranjan has answered it as correct. This was taken from UPSC CAPF, direct from paper itself I have taken, 2020 UPSC CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces. The Cartagena Protocol, of which India is party, is related to combat the greenhouse gases and reduce the global warming and climate change, biosafety negotiated under Convention on Biodiversity, combat the ozone layer depletion substances to protect human lives, combat the phenomena of desertification of improving the land farming and dry regions. So, this is wrong, right? We have seen it is signed under the Convention on Biodiversity for biosafety, right? So, this is the Cartagena Protocol. So, answer is B. Next question, consider the following statement about SpaceX Starlink mission. SpaceX Starlink mission, right? So Starlink is a network of satellites that provide internet. The satellite network operates like conventional internet satellites that are positioned much higher at 35,000 kilometers. SpaceX first Starlink mission was launched in 2019, which carried 60 satellites. Yes, correct. So first statement, yes, it provide internet. So what is the answer for this? 1 2 1 3 1 2 3 and 2 3. First statement is correct. Second statement is wrong. It was kept under lower Earth orbit, right? So it is not the conventional satellite. Second statement can be eliminated and you got the answer, right? Answer is B. Third is correct. It was launched in 2019. Yes, fourth one is B. Last question for today about India, Middle East, Europe, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. They are asking about the incorrect statements. The IMEC aims to enhance connectivity, economic integration between India, Middle East and developing a multimodal transport. The corridor includes initiatives to improve maritime, rail, road transportation links among the member countries. One of the primary objectives is to reduce dependency on the Suez Canal for the trade between Asia and Europe. The IMEC project is led by India along with the BRICS nations. So this is the 4 statements and they are asking about the wrong statements. This is correct. So multimodal to promote integration of India Middle East region. So it has rail, road, all these things. Primary objective is to reduce dependency on Suez Canal. So this BRICS nations are not involved in this thing. It is between the member countries of India, Arabian Peninsula and Europe, right? So answer is D. Correct. So that is all for today's session, a little bit faster because of other class. So fine, there was a lot of important articles, try to revise them. If you have any doubts, you can put a comment in the video, right? I'll address it. So thanks a lot, have a great evening.